Hey guys, Big Dog Beef. See this big pile of bright, shiny brass? Well, you want to know how I got it this clean? Stay tuned, and you'll find out. Hey guys, Big Dog Beef. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to talk about wet tumbling, an inexpensive way to wet tumble. There's a lot of different ways out there to tumble your brass. You have your dry tumbling, you have your wet tumbling, and then there's those people that prefer to not tumble at all. Okay, but we're talking about wet tumbling. Previously I had been dry tumbling, and I decided to move over to wet tumbling. Why? It has nothing to do with wanting brass that's extra shiny and extra clean or anything like that. It's mostly from a health standpoint. I started getting a little bit worried as to whether or not there was harmful dust being put into the air of my home, especially with a 9-month-old baby. So I wanted to give wet tumbling a try. However, wet tumbling can be kind of daunting in that it can be expensive to start. It certainly is a little bit more labor intensive. Now let's go over a few things. First of all, here's what I did to get started wet tumbling. As you can see, I am not using a Tumbler's tumbler or anything like that because those are really kind of pricey. What I ended up picking up, let me move the brass that we're going to be cleaning today out of the way for a second here. This is from Harbor Freight. It is a dual drum rock tumbler. Normally this is about, I guess, 50 bucks. But you know, if you know anything about Harbor Freight, you know that there's always coupons, always 20% off coupons. So I picked this up for about $40. Each one of these containers can hold 3 pounds. Now, not 3 pounds of brass, 3 pounds total. Okay? I actually have in each one of these, I have 1 pound of stainless media. I'll put in 1 pound of what do you call it? 1 pound of brass, and then I will put and then just fill it up with water, and we'll go over that in just a second. Before we get started, the stainless media you can buy online. You can buy it from Amazon. There's another place out there that actually sells what they call a refresh kit, which actually is just 2 pounds of media, so you don't have to buy the full 5 pounds, because stainless media, believe it or not, is a little bit pricey. But a 2 pound, basically stainless media is about $10 a pound, no matter where you look. I ended up buying a full 5 pounds just so I had extra. A buddy of mine bought 5 pounds, but he went in on it with a friend of his, so they both, you know, split the cost. If you just want to go the route of having enough media for basically just this, you really only need to spend 20 bucks. Okay? There are other things you will probably need to purchase. I recommend getting a universal decapping die because stainless media works best when the brass is deprimed. Now, yes, you can deprime if you have a resizing and depriming die, but do you really want to put dirty brass inside that resizer? This stuff doesn't need to be resized yet. So it's a matter of how you want to work it and what you want to do. Either way, you will need to deprime your brass, no matter how you do it. Like I said, so I mean, look at those flash holes. Those are, you know, disgusting. Okay. This brass here is not range brass. This has actually previously been dry tumbled. It was dry tumbled with the primers in, obviously, or else those holes would be at least a little bit cleaner. The question always comes down to, you know, does really clean brass make a difference? Honestly, I have no idea. I've seen posts online. I've seen some people say things along the lines of, yes, clean brass does make a difference, better velocities, things like that. Honestly, I have no idea, and I have no scientific proof to back it up. Now, one of the other things you need to be cognizant of is when you get your stainless media, it doesn't come all shiny. Now, that's fairly shiny right now. What you need to do, and this is what I did. Now, this is not my first batch that I've run. What I've actually done, when I first got the stainless media, is I took about a pound of the media, threw it into here with water and some Dawn dishwashing detergent, and I just tumbled that for a couple of hours to get the media, you know, all clean and start getting it shiny, because it comes, you know, from the manufacturing plant with grease and oil and, you know, from the extruding process. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. So we are going to be using our dual drum rock tumbler that we bought at Harbor Freight for $40 with the 20% off coupon. Okay, I have one of the drums here with stainless media in it, of course. It's about a pound of media in both of them, and a pound of brass. Okay, I've actually already measured the brass. I use just like a little kitchen scale just to make sure I have a pound. Now remember, we have to deprime the brass first. So this is where part of the labor intensive comes in, because you have to, there's more work involved because you have to spend time to deprime the brass. Now, it depends on how many rounds you shoot at the range at once. I mean, if you're shooting 1,000 rounds or thousands of rounds in a week, then I can understand wanting to get something a little bit more expensive, something a little more that can handle a lot more brass. And there are a bunch of them out there. There's actually another guy out there that goes under the moniker Big Dog, but I think it's DOG, who actually makes larger brass tumblers out of PVC piping and all that stuff. Obviously much more expensive, but it can handle a lot more brass at once. For someone like me, who, you know, shoots a couple hundred rounds a week, something like that, this is perfect, because I can fit with basically 2 pounds of 45 ACP brass. It's somewhere between 150 and 200 pieces of brass, somewhere in that area. So that's not too bad. So I mean, when I go out and do a competition, the brass that I pick up, I can come home and clean it, you know, and it's easily done. Okay, so we have our 2 canisters of brass. We're going to fill this up so it just covers the brass with water. Now, I don't know if I can, yeah, I will do this over here. Okay, so the brass will just get covered with water. It's not going to go, you know, anything like, oh, it's 1 inch to the top or 2 inches to the top, because you don't want to overfill these drums, or, you know, they could leak. Just going to fill these up. Also, very important, when you're wet tumbling brass, that you're using cold water, both in the tumbling process and in the rinsing process, which we'll get to the rinsing process in, well, about 3 hours. Okay, Dawn detergent. We're just gonna, a lot of people measure this out. Because I'm doing so little, I just give it a quick little squirt, just enough that it's gonna create some suds. Okay, the last thing you're also gonna need is LemiShine. Okay, the great part is this 12-ounce container is gonna last a really, really long time, because some people measure it out, and usually with the 5 pounds of brass, using a 1/4 teaspoon or whatever it is. I'm using a 1 teaspoon here, but I'm only using it just to put it out. Basically, for me, it's almost just a little pinch of LemiShine. You don't want too much. You just want enough to be able to make things a little cleaner. So now that we've done that, excuse me, let's go ahead and seal this up. Okay, this one here, just these seal right inside the lip here. Okay, we put the lids back on. Now this is where the lids for this are a little, they're kind of a pain in the ass, to be perfectly honest with you. You really gotta, if you can use a rubber mallet, I say go for it. But best thing to do is like what I'm doing right here. I'm actually picking it up, just kind of squeezing it down. Okay, see this one here? See, there's a little gap there. You just really need to get these on tight. Like I said, if you can get a rubber mallet, pound it down a little bit, that'll work. Now, one thing I don't have here that I probably should is, just to be on the safe side, I should have this under, like a pan underneath this in case this, you know, starts leaking or anything like that. But what I do prior is, first of all, make sure these knobs are all the way down. I'll take this, just rotate it, make sure nothing's coming out. Okay, so we put these on here. Oh, this one needs to Down a little bit. Let's double check it. Okay, I got a good seal. We stick it on, turn it on, and that's it. So now what's going to happen is we're going to be back in 3 hours, and we're going to check our brass. And I'll show you the rinsing process. I'll show you actually just how dirty the the dry tumble brass. Remember, this was already previously dry tumbled. Okay, I will show you the water when this is done, and you will see just how dirty it still is on those cases. Anyway, guys, all right, we'll be back in a little bit. You said about 3 hours, and we'll finish up with the rinsing process and drying process.